Coming at you from the One Button Studio, Amer Mansour, Bryce Whiteholtz, I'm Michael Vetter. This is Between the 20s, coming at you with our NFL awards prediction. Boys, how are we feeling about the rest of the season?
I'm feeling good. Halfway through the season, halfway through the regular season at least. It's looking good. Some ups and downs of the season for everybody. It's been kind of a weird season. A lot of things you didn't expect to happen are happening. I mean, the Bills are in the playoff contention right now. Who would have thought?
Just one down for Amer so far, and that was the Patriots losing to the Ravens on Sunday night.
That's okay. We'll be back.
I'm pumped for the second half. We got a lot of really close playoff races coming, especially the wild card in the NFC. The NFC is stacked, guys. Yeah. The NFC West, you got Seahawks and Niners this week. They play again in Week 17. That could be for potentially the 1 seed. This is going to be a fun couple of weeks for the second half of the season. A lot of playoff implications to come.
I feel like almost one of the NFC teams deserves to be in the AFC and take one of those spots away from whoever's going to. I mean, the Colts,
like the NBA East-West.
Yeah, true, very true. But then you have teams like the Phoenix Suns, who's surprised they come in there 5-2 so far. I think at last check, maybe. Crazy for the Suns. Anyway, in this episode, we're going to be going over the key awards in the NFL. We're just going to talk through a few players that we think are going to win each of them. In reality, we're making predictions here, but we're just kind of getting to talk about the rest of the season going. I don't necessarily think that, I think these, to be honest, a little arbitrary, these awards. A little arbitrary when they're just out
He's hedging his bets.
To be fair, a little arbitrary. But we're also making arbitrary choices here. So
he doesn't believe in his picks. He's hedging his bets.
Arbitrariness evens out.
He's hedging his bets. We haven't even started the video. He's hedging his bets.
But we're just going to have a lot of fun today talking over some of these award races. And first, Offensive Player of the Year. Amer, who do you have? Tom Brady, of course. Moving on. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man, I wish. His Offensive Player of the Year days are over. I think he's 42.
That's a little negative. I think he could be there.
I don't think so. But, yeah, I think this Offensive Player of the Year, pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty obvious for me and for most people. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey. He is the entire Panthers offense right now. They are above 500. They're in the playoff hunt, and he's the only reason for that. Kyle Allen's been fine since he's took over for Cam Newton, but everything has run through Christian McCaffrey. We've heard Bryce say that Christian McCaffrey is the first, second, and third option on the Panthers.
He is.
He said that multiple times on this cast, and
it's because he is.
He's right. First option in the pass game, first option on the ground. He's having an insane season. He's projected for over 2,000 all-purpose yards. And a ton of touchdowns. So I think it's pretty clear for me, Christian McCaffrey is my Offensive Player of the Year so far.
So Amer's already talked me up about this. Clearly, my OPOY is Christian McCaffrey as well. The guy is spectacular. He's on pace to have the second most yards from scrimmage ever, just behind Chris Johnson's spectacular year that one season. And even then, I think he's got the chance to surpass it with more touchdowns as well. The guy is doing unprecedented things on the ground and the air. He's spectacular. Believe me, I also wanted to make him my MVP. We'll get into that. But if you watch the NFL the playoff prediction show, based on the nature of these awards, I just don't think that you can have your MVP on a team not in the playoffs. So he's relegated here just to Offensive Player of the Year. He, though, has been the most electric player in the NFL this season. If you have him in fantasy, count your blessings. He's been spectacular.
Yeah, good pick.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to disagree with you. As great as Christian McCaffrey is, a little bit north of here, wearing purple, the chef is cooking up a phenomenal season. Yes, I am going with Dalvin Cook, the chef, up there in Minnesota. He's really just fundamental to that team. When you think about it, coming into the season, you thought, they have Kirk Cousins, they paid him a lot of money to be the quarterback. They have Stephon Diggs. Last 4 weeks, last 6 weeks, he's been picking it up a little bit. And then they have Adam Thielen, who recently has been dealing with a bunch of injuries. But still, even with all of that, everybody was healthy at the beginning of the season. And who did they turn to? They turned to Dalvin Cook. And he's put together a phenomenal season from the rushing standpoint. He's just been like an absurd rusher, and he's really fueled the Vikings offense. I think you could really make an argument that without Dalvin Cook, the Vikings would not be in contention at all. And last time I checked, they are in a little bit more contention than the Carolina Panthers. That's why I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook. And I also expect from the rest of the year, I feel like Cook is going to keep delivering. as they start maybe to balance the offense out a little bit more, just because they were so rush heavy and the team might be expecting that rush. But I think that he's also still going to be a very active piece, and that offense is going to get working to help him produce even more potentially down the line as they mix in that passing game a little bit more.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
that wins argument's a good one for Dalvin Cook. He also leads the league in rush yards, so he's a top there. And as Mike said, the Vikings are a better team than the Panthers. So I guess I can see the arguments on both sides, but Dalvin Cook's played one more game than Christian McCaffrey. So McCaffrey will probably catch up and surpass Dalvin Cook in rush yards, and of course he's way ahead in receiving yards too. So I think the combination of those two makes him our offensive player of the year for me and Bryce.
Definitely.
It's definitely fair, but I like Cook. I think he's going to have a very good second half. So stay tuned. And let's just all I hate this as fantasy owner. But let's go back to the beginning of the second round. Where you're looking at two running backs, right? You're looking at Dalvin Cook. And you're like, oh, Minnesota machine. Good option. Beast. Number one. And you're looking at Joe Mixon. Ouch. Oh, Joe Mixon, also number one option. Pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, you thought, oh, Joe Mixon, he led the AFC in rushing last year.
And you chose Joe Mixon?
He did. Not anymore.
I feel so bad.
Guys, Halloween's over. Stop scaring everybody.
I just hate it. I mean, your whole fantasy season
season's
based
gone.
on
Brutal.
one decision. You could be first place or last place, depending on who you pick there. Joe Mixon, borderline starter at this point. Dalvin Cook,
No.
the plug and play. Not the plug and play. The starter, the foundation, the cornerstone of fantasy
Set it
teams.
and forget it.
Clearly,
Exactly.
Top
Set
three
and
running
forget
back
it,
in
kids.
fantasy, Dalvin Cook right there. But of course, who's the number one running back in fantasy? Our
CMC.
guy.
But just amazes me how that second round value changes. Anyway, now that we've covered the offensive player of the year base, let's move on to the defensive player of the year. Wearing the Chicago Bears jersey, that's fitting. Also, another great defensive jersey here.
Not so much. I'm going to make the argument for my guy, homering with Stephon Gilmore. Best corner in the game. He'll shut down one side of the field. He can shut down both sides of the field. He'll match up against your best guy, and he'll take him out of the game. As you saw so far, he's pretty much he's one of the big reasons that the Patriots are second best defense in the NFL so far this year. Their schedule is doing them a lot of favors, but I still think this defense is legit, of course, and they're anchored from that secondary with Stephon Diggs, obviously Jason and Devin McCourty as well, but Stephon Gilmore, not Stephon Diggs, excuse me. But Stephon Gilmore is pretty much the reason that secondary is one of the best in the league. He's shutting down some good wide receivers. So for me, great defense anchored by Stephon Gilmore on the back end. So he's my defensive player of the year.
I do want to clarify one thing Amer said. He said that the Patriots have had a lot of gifts. They've had a lot of gifts. This schedule's terrible, but that shouldn't knock anything from Stephon Gilmore. Darrelle Revis, I think, actually said he's the best cornerback in the league, which is as high a praise as you can get.
Game recognizes game.
Yeah, with number one wide receiver, he's going against. Like, who's the Giants' number one wide receiver at the time?
Darius Slayton.
Oh, it was Darius Slayton. Okay.
Actually, they had Golden Tate. That's okay.
No, he wasn't. He still
Golden Tate was back.
Yeah,
Golden Tate was back.
Oh, he was back?
Yeah.
Shutting down Golden Tate. Congratulations. I'm going to go with Joey Bosa. The logic here is just pretty simple. I think that the Chargers, their season is kind of. They're I'd say a decently balanced team, but I think their defense is kind of really what makes them stand out. I'd say Phillip Rivers is leading an okay offense, but I think the defense really is what fuels that team. And what fuels the defense is my man Joey Bosa out of the Ohio State University. I really like what he's bringing to the table down there. I'm just going to go with him at the defensive end. I feel like he really is deserving of this award.
Fair enough. Watch out for his brother, too. His brother could make a run at this award.
And maybe a run at a mention later in the show.
Yeah.
We shall see. Anyway, moving on from that. Everybody good on that front? Everybody cleared? We're going to go on to the offensive rookie of the year. Who do you have? Amer.
Oh, me.
Whoa, turning it around.
Whoa.
Pull the fast
The
one.
old switcheroo.
The Struts. Don't share that song with anyone under 13. At least PG-13 and possibly R. If you do, don't tell them to listen to the lyrics too closely. I learned that the hard way.
Oh, man. Like,
it's a fun song.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, offensive rookie of the year. This is pretty much a two-horse race, I think, for most people. It's pretty much between Kyler Murray and Josh Jacobs. Both have had really good seasons. Josh Jacobs kind of hit the ground running. Took a little bit of a dip, but now he's definitely back. And I think Kyler actually took a little bit longer to get used to the NFL speed. But he's playing great, and so my pick is going to be Kyler Murray. I think the second half of the season is going to be huge for him. And just the fact that he's a quarterback really kind of sways it and biases the award in his favor. Quarterbacks are definitely favored in the NFL. Of course, they shoulder most of the blame, shoulder most of the prize pretty much when they win. So I think a lot of it rests on the quarterback, and so I think that's why I'm going to pick Kyler Murray, just kind of based on his position.
Amer said it. This is a 2-horse race. He took one horse. I'm going to take the other. Josh Jacobs.
What am I going to say? Ooh.
He said it was a 2-horse race for most people. Mike is not most people. Josh Jacobs. The Raiders somehow are still in contention for a playoff spot, vying for that wild card seed. Josh Jacobs has been one of the main reasons why. Derek Carr has been really good. Don't want to take anything away from him. He has had over a 100 passer rating the entire season, most weeks, more often than not. But he's been more of a game manager to me, more of an Alex Smith type of player. Josh Jacobs has been the spark plug to this offense. He's the one that's going out there and doing the dirty work. John Gruden loves his running backs, and Josh Jacobs is being a dynamic player. Yes, Kyler Murray being a quarterback is a huge, huge arrow in his favor, huge up arrow in his favor. But I think Josh Jacobs running an offense from a running back position is going to be a big boon for these voters.
Well, it's a 2-horse race until they let the third horse out of the gate. And I'm going to go with a different opinion. I think those are two great outlooks, but I'm going to go with a player who I think from here on out could really make the case. And that is Marquise Hollywood Brown. I think he's going to be a star of this late season film.
I see what you did there.
Yes, you see what I did there. Okay. But listen to my reasoning behind here. So first of all, the Ravens are this offense that's come out of nowhere, really. Lamar Jackson had a great stretch at the end of last season, but he's continued into this year to a degree at which most people did not think was feasible. With that in mind, he's been very rush heavy. I mean, they beat the Patriots with him having less than 200 passing yards, I believe, on Sunday.
Yeah.
He's been very rush heavy, and I think my big thesis is that as the season's going to progress, he's going to throw the ball more just because they're going to want him avoiding a little bit more contact and being in there for the longer haul. With that in mind, who is he going to pass the ball to?
Mark Andrews.
A little bit
Yes.
of tight end. You have a tight end, but you also have the deep threat, Marquise Brown, who I think is just really a phenomenal piece on that team and one that is going to get targeted very consistently from here on out from Lamar Jackson. He's dealt with injuries so far, but I think he has the potential to finish the year in these next 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, better than the two guys they just mentioned. So that's why I'm going Marquise Brown.
Yeah, if this was a 1 week award, I think your guy would have had it after the week one. But
Against
then,
Miami.
Against Miami, but since then,
I mean, Stephon Gilmore has played against
Not too
Miami
great.
twice. Well, twice? Once?
Once.
Oh, we got to know that that's right. Everybody schedule your calendars for the next Patriots-Dolphins game.
massacre, yes.
Exactly. Yes. Be sure to tune in.
But that's like
Not
the
as
game.
interesting as the Tank Bowl, which you could find on Mike's Madness, when the Dolphins took on the Redskins. And then the Jets took on the Dolphins. It was potentially another Tank Bowl. But regardless.
Tough season for the bottom.
Let's move on to
in the
good
NFL.
seasons. Next one is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. No switcheroo here. Let's just go straight to Bryce.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Defensive Rookie.
Rookie.
of the year.
Rookie
Yes,
of
my
the
apologies.
year.
My apologies. Misspoke.
This one should be no question. It's Nick Bosa. I mean, what else can you say other than he's been in the league for now 9 weeks, 8 games, and he's already a top 5 pass rusher in this league. The guy's a force. He is anchoring the 49er defense. Nick Bosa, without a shadow of a doubt, Rookie of the Year for the defensive side.
Agreed. Can't say much about that one.
Sweep! NFL
Yeah.
awards.
We're going to
edition.
sweep this one all the way across, and I'm going to take it from here. As Bryce said, anchoring that front four, best defensive unit in the NFL on the best defense in San Francisco. I was really considering putting him as my Defensive Player of the Year as well, but then I did some research and saw that the only player to do that in NFL history was Lawrence Taylor. I don't really think Nick Bosa is on Lawrence Taylor's level, and there are a couple good options for Defensive Player of the Year. So I went away from that just because we know how the voters don't like to give 2 awards to the same player. But
And
still,
guess how many times we've heard that fun fact in the last 3 days?
just once.
No, we've heard it more. Off the air. Had to deal with it quite a bit. The Lawrence Taylor fact. As a Giants fan, I appreciate it. A little too much Lawrence Taylor action for me personally.
Top 3 player of all time,
LT,
Lawrence
baby.
Taylor.
I'm gonna-
Original LT.
I announced the sweep already. Probably played my hand there a little bit early, but I'm going to go with Nick Bosa as
He's a
well.
terrible poker player.
Exactly. With that, now we're going to get on to some of an award for somebody who doesn't actually enter the field of play, and that's Coach of the Year.
Unless you're Mike Tomlin.
Very good. Like that one. Coach of the Year. Let's start with Amer. Who do you feel? Bill Belichick can't win every year, no?
No, he should though. But this is honestly, I think this is pretty clear for me. I know these guys disagree, but for me, I'm gonna roll with Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, excuse me. Kyle Shanahan out on the West Coast. We've talked a lot about San Francisco. They're the only undefeated team left. Best defense in the NFL, and they've had a great run game so far. Kyle Shanahan has just kind of been the mastermind behind, especially on the offensive side, that run game, which best run game in the NFL, and no one really saw this coming from San Francisco. So I think Kyle Shanahan has taken his roster, which might not be the most talented in the NFL, but he's definitely propelled them into a top 3 team in the NFL. So I think Kyle Shanahan's doing a lot with not as much talent as maybe some other guys. So Kyle Shanahan, my pick for Coach of the Year.
So Kyle Shanahan, obviously a very popular pick. The reason I'm not going with him is because he's the offensive coach there. Yes, he's the head coach, but he's known for his offensive schemes. And the defense is what's carrying them forward. He plays a minor role in the defense. It's mostly their defensive coordinator who, in all honesty, is being looked at by several teams to be head coach next year. Watch out for that.
He will be.
That being said, I'm going to go with the man in the Big Easy. Sean Payton hasn't won in a couple of years, but he's going to win it this year for the same reason Aaron Boone is going to win the American League Manager of the Year. His injury management. It's true. It's going to happen.
Drew Yankees fan
Aaron
coming
Boone,
in.
we're going to hand you a team that we're paying more than $210 million. Do your best. If you fail, don't worry. We'll be here for you.
They set a record for injuries, Mike.
Oh,
A record.
it's a Brian Cashman show that he tells Aaron Boone what to do. Aaron Boone does it, and his job is just to make sure that the clubhouse doesn't go up in flames. My God!
Just wait for our baseball debates and rants. You'll hear all about Mike's hate on the Yankees.
Now, Carlos Beltran,
Oh,
that's
God. No.
Stop.
Sean Payton, his Hall of Fame bound quarterback, gets hurt against the Rams early in the season, and he takes Teddy Bridgewater every start that he had. Yes, Bridgewater might be a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo.
He is.
Yes,
Might be.
Teddy Bridgewater was at one point an all-pro quarterback. But for a guy that hasn't played in years, to have him go 5-0, spectacular. Against a very good schedule, or a solid schedule, for the weeks that he played. Sean Payton's injury management has been spectacular this season. Not only was Drew Brees out, Alvin Kamara was out for a while too, and Latavius Murray was spectacular in those two and a half weeks that Kamara was on the sideline. Sean Payton is making the Saints a top 2. We talked about this on the playoff prediction show. Top 2, maybe even better than the 49ers. Top 1 team in the NFC, team in the league, most certainly. I think Sean Payton wins this award fairly handily.
Let me just take a second to revisit the choices so far. Offensive coach on defensive team. Offensive coach because of his injury management, placing an all-pro in for the quarterback. Last time I checked, GM selects the second best quarterback. But either way, I don't think scheming with Teddy Bridgewater is all that hard. And plus, I think it opens the playbook because they're like, oh, all these rushing plays that we couldn't do with Drew Brees, oh, we could try them with Teddy Bridgewater.
He's not a rushing quarterback.
He's not a rushing
more
quarterback.
after the knee.
But I still feel that he has some ability. Opens up the playbook at least a little bit more than Drew Brees. Maybe not from the arm perspective, but yes.
Maybe.
Teddy Two Gloves, baby. Teddy Two Gloves. Come on.
Anyway, my Coach of the Year choice is someone a little bit more obscure. Sean McDermott out there in Buffalo. Sure. That was the whole point of the obscurity. I chose him before. I promise I wasn't basing it off of these choices. Anyway, Sean McDermott has taken a defense that was okay last year, made them into a phenomenal defense out there in Buffalo. And more than that, he took an offense where they had questions at running back and questions at quarterback and made a team that is a very good threat to enter into this wild card race in the AFC. I really like what they're doing up there in Buffalo, and that's why he's my choice.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Buffalo's a surprise team, so I guess I see that argument.
He's really turned Josh Allen around, too. Josh Allen, obviously still a work in progress, but he's taken a big step forward this year.
Definitely.
And nobody picked Freddie Kitchens.
Shocking. Breaking news. Freddie Kitchens is not a Coach of the Year candidate.
So far. 2-6. Bryce probably has him going, what?
8-0 the rest of the way.
8-0 the rest of the
10-6.
way.
They're making a run at that NFC.
No shot. No shot. He should get fired. But that's a story for another night.
And
Him
finally,
and Adam Gase. They don't belong as coaches.
the moment for the big award has arrived. This one isn't dealt out for injury management. As a matter of fact, you could argue that it's been a very important part of it is staying not injured. So with that, we've come to the MVP. And with his choice for MVP, we have Amer leading off.
Oh, I'm starting again. All right. Well, for me, MVP, it's pretty clear. It's got to be Russell Wilson. Seattle has just been amazing, despite a pretty lackluster, to be nice, defense. And Russell Wilson just doesn't have many weapons. Like Tyler Lockett wasn't great until this season. Now he's just a machine so far. The stats speak for themselves with Russell Wilson. Leads the league in passing touchdowns. Only has 1 interception. He's got like a 23-1 touchdown interception ratio, which is unreal. Insane. They are 7-2 now. They've got an amazing record. They're a great team. Not much to say. He's the reason that they're good, and he can just do so much with his legs. He's one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, and he makes plays that you can't teach that kind of stuff. So I'm in awe of Russell Wilson. He's the highest paid quarterback for a reason. He's the MVP this season.
Believe me, I did want to make this Christian McCaffrey, but as I highlighted earlier, it's tough to pick an MVP when there's an Offensive Player of the Year, when that MVP is not on a playoff team. Very hard to do. Not only that, a couple fun facts for you guys and for you guys. Since the year 2000, so since the turn of the century, only 4 times has a non-quarterback won the MVP award, and that included 2000, 06, 07, and 2012. So since AP won in 12 with the Vikings, it's been all quarterbacks from there. I think it's going to stay the exact same with this trend. Continuing with Amer, Russell Wilson. I have said this before. Russell Wilson's a magician. The guy does stuff that I haven't seen anyone do in terms of elusiveness, in the pocket, out of the pocket. His connection with Tyler Lockett is something special. He has been absolutely fantastic. He's turned DK Metcalf, one of the worst route runners in the league, into a viable receiving option.
Okay, but don't act like DK's like a scrub.
Fine.
I mean, he ran like a sub 4.4. He's a machine. He's huge. So he's
Fair
a good
enough.
option.
But still, Russell Wilson working with a subpar offensive line. They've been better than usual, but still not a good offensive line. His tight end already got hurt, Will Disley, who he trusts. He's had to overcome a lot. And he is, as I said, a magician, and the magician is going to win the MVP award this year.
You forget who fuels the offense up there, though. That's Chris Carson.
No.
What?
Oh,
Consistent
Russell
rusher.
Wilson. Russell
even
Wilson.
when they
Russell
load the
Wilson.
box,
No.
even when they load the box, Chris Carson is able to
they
rush
can't
it
load the box because Russell
efficiently.
Wilson throws to 23 touchdowns.
efficiently.
No.
I like to be a little bit contrarian. I'm not going to go with Russell Wilson as my MVP. I'm going to go up with Cheesehead Aaron Rodgers.
He's a bad man.
So, Mike, let me get this,
Exactly.
let me get this straight for a second.
Aaron Rodgers' highlights this year include taking on the Raiders, putting up 5 touchdowns and a perfect passer rating. I like Rodgers. I think that from here on out, in addition, he's just going to get better. And that's really what's scary. The fact that he's leading this team with basically no defense. They're 25th plus ranked defense in the NFL. And he does it with Devontae Adams. And as far as I'm concerned, really no very well-known players. And here comes Bryce with MVS.
Aaron Jones.
MVS stinks.
Aaron
Jones
Jones
great
as a
running
running
back.
back. Yes, he's a good running back. No Chris Carson. We can all agree on that.
Absolutely not true.
They are
We
very
all
close.
agree.
I take Aaron Jones.
They are very close.
But anyway, I really like Rodgers. I think that he is the leader up there in Green Bay. Their team, I think, has a potential to finish better than Seattle. And with that in mind, I love Rodgers. I think that in reality, from here on out as well, I think he's just going to be a phenomenal candidate.
You heard it here first. Mike does not have Christian McCaffrey winning a major award.
So, Mike, you think you're a
I'm getting a
contrarian.
lot of heat for this.
So you're contrarian. So you didn't go with the first favorite to win MVP. You dropped all the way to the second favorite to win the MVP. Big contrarian Mike Vetter over here.
Offensive Player of the Year was also a little contrarian, but
Again,
And
you went from
Rookie
the
of the Year.
first to the second.
I was contrarian because I was disagreeing with them, and I enjoyed it while it lasted. Now I'm just getting called out for being different. Anyway, that wraps up our NFL Awards prediction show. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you've enjoyed the NFL season so far. You can check out Between the 20s on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. All of the links above. Everybody's pointing up because the NFL season is just going up. So is Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook's odds at winning these awards. With that, we hope you've enjoyed it. And until next time, this has been Between the 20s.